At the beginning of the story, we meet Carrick, a young shapeshifter. He lives in the mountains with his family. He can transform into a human if he wishes, but spends most of his time as a cougar. Cougars are a breed of big cats found in the Americas, like leopards and cheetahs. His family forbids him from interacting with humans, but gradually he begins to understand them. So he leaves his family and is later adopted by a human family. One morning, while eating breakfast with his new family, he sees a news report in the newspaper. It reports that various animals have been attacking humans in recent days, and these attacks are increasing. That morning, Carrick says goodbye to his siblings and leaves with his mother in the car. His mother, Melody, has brought him to see a new school. During the journey, Carrick notices two crows flying behind him. He suspected they might be shapeshifters too. That evening, the family, exhausted, stopped at a hotel along the way. But the crows were still after them. At night, Carrick heard a noise outside. He went to the window and saw a pack of wolves heading down the street. Suddenly, the power went out in the building opposite. The next morning, the family hit the road again, and a few hours later, they arrived at Clearwater High School. As soon as Carrick got out of the car, he became suspicious. He saw that the same crows that had been following him were now standing there, disguised as school students. Just then, Principal Lisa arrived and welcomed Carrick. She asked Carrick's mother, "How did you find Carrick?" Anna explained that her real parents had never met him. "A few years ago, I received a call about a boy needing rescue. When I arrived, Carrick was completely terrified. Anna gently coaxed him to come over, and Carrick was so taken with her that she convinced her husband to let her take him. Carrick didn't trust anyone else. That's why Anna and her husband eventually adopted him. As soon as Carrick graduated from 10th grade, I received an invitation from your school. They thought Carrick would be happier away from the city because he had his own children. He wasn't very happy at the Old Town School. Lisa told Anna that she needed to talk to Carrick alone. As soon as Anna left, Lisa said, "I know your secret." She explained that everyone in this school is a shapeshifter. You are one too. That's why you've been invited. There's no need to hide your secret from anyone in the school. Suddenly, the school alarm went off. The principal rushed out to see what was going on. She saw Carrick's mother and sister wandering around the campus. Lisa told her assistant to get them out quickly so they wouldn't see anyone transforming. Carrick was overjoyed to see so many different species of animals gathered in one place. This was the first time he had seen other shapeshifters like himself. While he was wandering inside the school, he met a gang led by a boy named Jeffrey. A rivalry broke out between them right away. But then their teacher James arrived and stopped the fight. After a while, all the children at school were introduced. Anna left her son there and went back. As she and Melody headed back to the car, a wealthy man, Andrew Milling, arrived on campus. He is the one who funds the school. After saying goodbye to his family, Carrick met Andrew. He said, "I was tired of wandering around like an animal. I was beginning to realize that there was more to life than just wandering around like a cougar." When he arrived at his new room, he was told the school rules. As soon as the principal left, a squirrel came to the window. She opened the window and the little squirrel came in and introduced herself. "My name is Holly, and I've been appointed your guide for now." Then she took him to the first shape-shifting class. Before class began, their teacher, Mr. Elwood, reminded everyone that their powers were to be used only in class. They were not allowed to use them outside in front of humans, as changing their bodies could be very dangerous. You'll be captured and experimented on. Now, since Carrick was new to the school, he was called upon to demonstrate his transformation in front of everyone. But before he could do anything, a boy named Brandon transformed into a wild buffalo. He had limited control over his powers, which is why he couldn't remain in human form for long. When Carrick saw how easily this boy transformed, his confidence plummeted. He hadn't changed his form in a long time. But then Lisa came to his aid. She reminded Carrick of his old life, when he would roam the forest with his parents, running around. Hearing this, Carrick also revealed his true form. After this, the principal asked all the children to change their forms. Then Carrick realized that Jeffrey and his friends lived together because they were a pack of wolves. Lisa then said, "Slowly, you will learn to balance your human and animal forms." A few hours later, while he was resting in his room, Brandon came in. He introduced himself as Carrick's new roommate. Holly suddenly appeared, saying it was time to go to the cafeteria. It's done. After dinner, Carrick met Dorian. Dorian is a boy who can turn into a cat. Before coming to this school, he lived as a pet in a human family's home. But one day, they caught him opening a can of fish. Then they kicked him out. Now Carrick's mountain lion form was revealed to everyone. He was now a very dangerous animal, so all the children respected him. But at the same time, the children who transformed into weaker animals began to fear him. Because of this, many children avoided him, fearing him as a threat to them. A boy named Bo, who transforms into a cute little rabbit, was always very scared. Carrick saw Jeffrey and his friends teasing him. Seeing this, Carrick went over and saved Bo from the wolves. The two were about to fight when their teacher, James, arrived. That night, while Carrick was dreaming of his family, Brandon suddenly woke him. In his sleep, Brandon transformed and broke the bed. He explained that it happens once a week. "So I'm sorry in advance for disturbing your sleep." Hearing this, Carrick began to wonder if the next few nights wouldn't be so relaxing. The next morning, Bert and Brandon were called to fight in combat class. But Brandon ran away before his bison could fight. He said, "I don't believe in fighting. Can't we live in love?" Carrick was called in his place. When the teacher saw that Carrick wasn't confident in his powers, Andre appeared. He showed him a small pouch containing cougar urine and told him to smell it carefully. Carrick did so and instantly transformed. Despite his small size, he demonstrated his strength to Bert. Leroy and Dorian were then called in. But as soon as Dorian smelled the poop, he immediately ran away and abandoned the fight. Thus Leroy won easily. At the end of class, Andre called Carrick and said, "I'll teach you how to fight." He gave him the same bundle and said, "You'll make great progress in the future." When Jeffrey saw that the school sponsor was paying more attention to Carrick, he became jealous. He challenged Carrick to fight 2 wolves if he had the guts. Jeffrey said, "If you win, we'll never bother you again." That evening, Carrick went to the treehouse with his new friends. He told them he'd accepted the challenge. Hearing this, Brandon became worried. He said, "If you get caught fighting, you'll be expelled from school." But Carrick said, "Once the lion has said what he says, he has said it." When Holly realized they wouldn't be able to change his mind, she said, "We'll do as much as we can. We'll support you." Brandon said he'd also go to see how you rescue those wolves. That night, the 3 friends sneaked out of the dormitory. Carrick took the same bundle from his pocket, sniffed it, and suddenly transformed. When he got to the place where the fight was supposed to take place, he asked which 2 wolves were going to fight. But then he realized he'd been tricked. Instead of 2 wolves, Jeffrey and his entire pack surrounded him. Still, Carrick didn't retreat. He was the strongest of them all. But the wolves attacked from behind and began to pin him down. Seeing her friend in trouble, Holly pushed Brandon off the hill so he could transform and go into the fight. Brandon distracted the wolves, and Carrick attacked. Then Jeffrey and his pack were forced to retreat. The next morning in class, James noticed some of the children were injured. He sent them to get bandaged. When asked how they got injured, everyone made up different excuses. But it was clear they'd fought the night before. Principal Lisa called Carrick in for some questioning. But before that could happen, Andrew took him away. While driving, Andrew explained, "I know what happened last night." He said that a real mountain lion should have single-handedly defeated all the wolves, whether 4 or 10. Carrick explained, "I left my family at a young age. That's why I never learned to hunt." Hearing this, Andrew said, "I'll teach you how to hunt," because he wanted Carrick to become a real hunter. When they returned to school, Lisa scolded Andrew, telling him not to give any student special treatment. She also told Carrick that if he wanted to stay there, he had to follow the rules. The principal also threatened that if he was caught fighting again, he'd be straight out. After Lisa left, Holly and Brandon came in. They asked what happened. Then Carrick saw Lou heading towards the woods, and he immediately followed him. Both of them overheard the teachers talking. They were saying that animal attacks on humans were increasing, which was very strange. What would the animals do if they moved to the city? Shapeshifters were definitely involved. The problem is that if humans found out about them, it would lead to the extinction of both species. It will become impossible to live. Humans fear what they don't understand, and then they will start destroying them. That's why Lisa and the Woodwalker Council must now devise a plan to prevent further attacks. On the way back, Carrick told Lou that when he was visiting with his mother, he saw 4 wolves attacking humans, and now it's certain that they were Jeffrey and his friends. The next day, Andrew took Carrick to the forest for his first training. He said that the more times he transformed, the easier he would be able to control both forms. Only then will he understand his full power. Before the hunt began, Cougar chose his prey and slowly moved away to set a trap. He caught the deer. Then together, they ate the prey and returned to school a few hours later. While talking, Andrew told him that he had a daughter. If she were alive today, she would be your age. That day, at lunchtime, Lou noticed that his friend hadn't eaten. He asked, "Aren't you hungry?" Carrick then explained, "I went hunting with Andrew this morning, and today I caught my first kill." Hearing this, Lou got up and left, remembering the day a cougar attacked her mother, and she hadn't been able to walk properly since. To apologize to his friend, Carrick followed him into the woods but couldn't reach him. That evening, while trying to sleep in his room, Carrick heard Jeffrey scream and looked out the window to see some wolves plotting something. To find out what was going on, Carrick followed them, and soon they reached the nearest town. There, a wolf tried to intimidate a security guard and enter a factory. Carrick caught hold of them. As soon as the wolves realized they were being followed, they decided to attack Carrick. But Andrew arrived just in time and stopped the fight before it could break out. He immediately told all the children to get into the car. When the wolves returned to school, Carrick was called in for a private discussion. Then Carrick learned the truth. Andrew was behind all these attacks. Carrick became saddened. He said, "I shouldn't have trusted you, Andrew." Had actually lost his wife and daughter. A few years earlier, while they were exploring the forest, a hunter killed them. Since then, he's hated humans because, according to him, humans have taken over the world. They're oppressing animals, and countless animals have been wiped out. Over the past 50 years, many shapeshifters have transformed into humans and tried to enact laws that would protect the forests and animals, but nothing has changed. Instead, things have gotten worse. This forced Andrew to take matters into his own hands. Just then, Sheila arrived to serve dinner. Carrick noticed that Sheila was wearing a prosthetic leg. Andrew explained that Sheila was actually a snake woman. While she was traveling in her animal form, someone ran over her with a car. Humans have to do off-roading. While eating, Andrew asked Carrick to join his project. But Carrick said, "I don't want to hurt anyone." Andrew replied, "My goal isn't to hurt humans, but to sabotage their machines so they don't harm animals by running new projects." Carrick replied, "I'll think about it. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about you." The next morning, Carrick helped Brandon practice. While running through the forest, the bison, destroying everything in its path, collided with the car of Carrick's parents, who were coming to school to visit their son. Taking the opportunity, Brandon began to apologize to the family. "Sir, sorry for the accident," but Carrick jumped in. He said he considers everyone's pain his own. He's a very nice person. "Come, let me show you his room." As they entered, Anna saw a squirrel rummaging through her belongings. Suddenly, the principal arrived. She told them all that we have a fixed meeting time. You can't just come in. Before leaving, Carrick's mother said they would stay in a nearby town for the entire week and invited her son to join them on the trip. Carrick immediately agreed and said goodbye to his family because they all had to go get their car repaired. As soon as the family left, Carrick received a call from Andrew. He told Carrick that they were going to do something this weekend. "Would you like to come?" Carrick replied, "I'm going with my parents this weekend, and I don't like the idea of harming people." Hearing this, Andrew immediately hung up. Now, to calm his nerves, he went into the woods. A few hours later, he had walked several miles. Wing suddenly appeared and told him that everyone was worried about his disappearance. Just then, a drone appeared, and Wing quickly told Carrick to run away because a hunter had sent dogs after them. A few minutes later, the cougar ran up a tree, but the drone continued to chase it. To help his friend, Wing broke the drone, and Carrick continued running. After running for a while, he stopped and rested. Shadow then threw him clothes so he could return to his human form. With the help of his friends, the boy returned safely to school. But before he could return to campus, he fainted from exhaustion. Luckily, Andrew found him and took him home so he could rest. When he woke up, Carrick told him everything that had happened in the woods. He then began to wonder if his real family had been killed by similar hunters, just like Andrew's daughter and wife. This angered him so much that he was ready to fight against the humans. Before leaving on his mission, Carrick learned that Andrew had sent some shapeshifters to find his real family. Andrew promised that if he survived, they would find him soon. A short while later, Carrick received a call from his mother. She said, "I have a lot of work from school. I won't be able to go out." Suddenly, Brandon and Holly arrived. They said, "We're worried about our friend," but Carrick told them to leave. After driving for a while, they reached a specific location. There, Andrew divided everyone into teams and instructed Carrick to drive the forest animals away. This bee? Jeffrey and his wolves began evacuating the workers, ensuring no one was injured, after chasing away some rabbits. Carrick noticed his parents had set up camp nearby. He began thinking of ways to save them. Trembling with fear, Carrick received a call from his mentor. Andrew said, "I saw your family setting up tents in that same valley. But don't worry, they're in no danger." The workers, frightened by the wolves roaming around furiously, got into a truck to escape. As soon as they left, Dan got into the truck and began dropping pieces of wood. Carrick even told him to stop the mission. "I'm scared my family might be in danger." Just then, Brandon and Holly arrived to help. When Shadow and Wing flew overhead, the wolves abandoned their work and ran away, fearing news of their actions would reach the school. Just then, Lou arrived and tried to convince Derek that there were other ways to stop the work. If they destroyed everything, the humans would take revenge, he said. But he didn't listen. He pushed Lou and the crows attacked him. Enraged, Derek transformed into a large bear. But this time, to save his friends, Brandon also jumped into the fray. With Holly's help, Carrick pushed Dan off the cart and turned into a cougar himself, chasing him. But then Andrew arrived and removed the wooden plank that was preventing the cart from falling, allowing it to move on its own. Seeing Carrick's rebellion, Andrew climbed aboard and a fight broke out. But as soon as Carrick saw large pieces of wood heading down the valley toward his family, he abandoned the fight and, risking his life, ran to save them. Hearing the sound of falling wood from above, Anna told everyone to hide. But Melody couldn't hear her mother's screams because she was wearing headphones. Melody, seeing the wood coming toward her, started screaming. But Carrick jumped in just in time and saved him, terrified. Anna went looking for her daughter and breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Melody alive. Melody said a cougar had pushed her to safety, but her father didn't believe her. He thought his daughter was just being frightened. A few minutes later, Lou and his friends found Carrick unconscious in the woods and were worried their friend was dead. But everyone was relieved when the mountain lion opened its eyes. He found Carrick. He immediately ran to check on his family to make sure they were all right. Andrew then arrived and said, "I was walking with a boy nearby when I saw the accident." He immediately called a helicopter to send the family to the hospital. Everyone escaped safely. Seeing his parents safe, Carrick became enraged. He declared, "I'll tell the principal who's really responsible." To keep his secret, Andrew said, "I've found your real family, but I'll only tell you where they are if you promise not to tell anyone what happened." Today, Carrick reluctantly had to remain silent. When the children returned to school, everyone welcomed them as heroes because they had prevented a war with humans. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.